Never in my whole entire world did I think I would be teaching Year 8 students how to add and subtract whole numbers. But hey, it's part of the Australian curriculum and we're about to get deep into the excitement that is. Now, actually, I'm not going to teach you how to do 3 plus 4. I'm pretty sure everybody in this world knows how to do 3 plus 4. And if you don't, you're probably not in Year 8. Hi guys, if you're in Years 1, 2, 3 and 4, welcome. Those of you who are being taught by me with our wonderful targeted teaching scheme, then that is the work I would very much like you to do. It says extension none for this exercise. Who needs to do the extension for this? Let's just move right past it. But have you noticed in maths that the key to doing well is to actually understand that there's lots of different words which mean the same thing? Remember, over here they've got a guy called Barry. In Australia, I swear this guy sits in a room, he's got no windows. He's got facial hair and a bit of a, I don't know, no friends, no windows. And really sorry to all the people out there called Barry. But I swear he is there to try and make up as many words that mean the same thing as we possibly can. I mean, if you think about it, we can use the word product and times and multiply to basically mean the same thing. And this guy actually enjoys trying to make maths hard, and that's why I and all the maths teachers in the world hopefully will try and make it easier for you, because we're going to try and take away and say, guys, just no, don't get confused. So words we use in maths, or Barry has invented, is plus, minus, difference, more than, less than, take away, add, all meaning pretty much the same thing. So if I said to you, what's 7 plus 3? If you don't actually know what the plus word means, you've got no chance. 7 plus 3 is, well, hopefully 10. But what is 3 less than 6? What is 3 less than 6? Well, actually, that's just another way of saying, what is 6 take away 3? Now, see, I've even done it there, take away, minus. I've never used take away. What's that all about? It's 3. So as soon as you understand the language, then actually maths becomes easier. And I'm really, really sorry to say that the better your English skills, the better your maths will become. All right, they're actually linked hand in hand. So here's examples of finding missing numbers using addition rules. Now, again, I'm not going to teach you how to do 7 plus 3, but we're going to look at the ideas behind whole number addition and subtraction to help us find these missing numbers. So first things first, there we go. I've got to find this missing number. Now, if you remember the rules, let's go back and do a really basic example. 236 plus 147. How do we do this normally in maths? Well, we look at this column here and we say, well, what's 6 plus 7? Well, 6 plus 7 when I went to school was 13. We put the 3 and the 1. Wow, hold on a moment. Every Australian student is screaming at me going, why did you put the 1 down here? Well, because I'm British, I've moved to Australia, I'm not Australian. And that's what we do. We actually put the numbers down there to make it easier for us. Why? Well, as far as I'm concerned, if you put the 1 up there, does that not look like 13 to you? I don't want to get confused. No, it makes no sense. You put it here and then you add all these numbers together. So 3 plus 4 plus 1. 3 plus 4 is 7 plus the 1 is 8. Thank you very much. Is there any carry? Nope. And 2 plus 1 gives me 3. So each column I do, I'm adding them together. Well, what does this have to do with the price of fish for these questions here? Well, if we look at this first column, a number plus 4 is 1. Well, I don't know about you, but we don't do negative numbers here. So that number there has to be what? Well, my advice is this wasn't going to be 1. It was actually going to be 11. Now what number do I add to 4 to give me 11? Yup, 7. So automatically I have now found my first number as 7. I move on to my next column. 3 plus 9 plus 1 gives me what? Well, 3 plus 9 is 12, plus the 1 gives me 13. So there's a 3, and that has to be a 1. 2 plus what plus 1 gives me 6. Well, 2 plus the 1 gives me 3. My final answer's got to be 6. So there we go. That has to be 3. There you go. My 3 missing numbers are found by using the idea of this carry. Changing pen color to make this look a little bit easier. So once again, 7. Let's look at this column. 7 plus what gives me 2? Well, it can't be 2. It has to be 12. So that's got to be a 1 carry there. 7 plus what now gives me 12? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, using my good old-fashioned fingers, gives me 5. Yay! I've done that column. Now let's move on to this one. 3 plus 9 plus 1 gives me what? 9 plus 3 is 9, 10, 11, 12, plus the 1 is 13. Carry the 1. And 4 plus 1 is 5. What do I then have to do to add up to give 7? That has to be 2. See how easy these questions are when we use the basic rules here? I should go. Rounding and adding, again, this is just a recap of the work we've done before. So this actual work was in the Cambridge Essentials textbook, which was in the Year 8-1 and Chapter 1A. All right, so those of you who are following along, I am teaching to the Cambridge Essentials scheme, which I think is awesome. And actually, so a lot of this work is going to be directly relevant to that, but is useful to you guys. So when you round to 1 decimal place, if you remember, this is my first decimal place, this is my second decimal place, and any number after that gets counted accordingly. So because I want to round to 1 decimal place, it is effectively saying that my answer can only have 1 number after the decimal. And that's where we look at the number after the dotted line. Now I always draw a dotted line after my arrow. I put an arrow to say, oh, that's how many decimal places I want. And so then I draw a dotted line. And I look at this number here. And if it's 5 or more, I add 1 to this, and if it's 0 to 4, I do absolutely nothing. So because that 7 is 5 or more, it changes the 6 into a 7, the decimal point there, and I copy the 3 down. And that is my rounding to 1 decimal place. Let's try this one, to 1 decimal place. Now we've got 3 numbers after the decimal, but I only want 1 of them. So I'm going to look at the number after the dotted line. Is it a 0 to 4? Yes, it is, so it doesn't do anything to my 9. In fact, these numbers now just sadly disappear. So this now becomes 9.9, and that answer is rounded to 1 decimal place. And again, this has now got 4 numbers after the decimal. It doesn't actually matter, because I want the 9, I want the 1 number after the decimal point. I look at the 6. Does it change the number? Yes, it's 5 or more. So that means my 6 adds 1 onto there, and then you go, whoa, hold on a moment, that's a little bit chunky, because that 9 is going to make it a 10. So I can't write 16.10, that doesn't make any sense to me. So what we do is, if you remember, the 9 becomes a 0, and the extra 1 moves into that column, so the 16 becomes a 17. So my answer becomes 17.0. Now there's another way of thinking about this. This is a different way I teach it. If I round this to 1 decimal place, I actually now look at this number here, with the decimal or without, as 169. I know the decimal point's got to be there. Does the 6 change the 9? Yes, it makes it 1 bigger. So what is 1 bigger than 169? Absolutely, 170. So it's a different way of getting to it. Some people like it that way, other people don't. So what about rounding to 2 decimal places? Well, if it's 2 decimal places, I want 2 numbers after my decimal point. So there's my second decimal place, there is my line. Now again, I'm looking at this number here now as 63. Does the 9 change the 3? Yes, it does. The 9 makes the 3 1 bigger. What's 1 bigger than 63? 64. There's my decimal point. There's my 134. And there is my answer. And again, to 2 decimal places. 64. Does the 9 change the 4? Yes, it does, because it's a 5 or more. So, 64. Make it 1 bigger. Becomes 65. Do the dot on the 12. And I am really flipping happy. And again, 2 decimal places. This number here is basically 9, or 0.009. Does the 6 change the 9? Yes, it does. It changes it so it becomes 1 bigger. So the 9 becomes 10, so it's 0.10. Almost at the end of this, it's not even 10 minutes long, which is awesome. But last thing you need to know how to do for this particular chapter is estimate the following sums by rounding to the nearest dollar. Now, when it's the nearest dollar, it literally means that. Now, if you're in a different country, say the United Kingdom watching this, and you're pounds, same difference. If I've got $1.95, is that closer to $2 or $1? Well, hopefully $2. So the first thing is that's going to become 2. And what about $3.02? Well, that's closest to $3. And so by estimating, which is sort of saying, oh, I'm going to get an answer close to the real answer, but not the actual answer, I'm going to end up with my answer of $5. And don't forget to put the dollar sign, because the original question gave you dollars. Same situation here. $8.69. What is that closest to? Well, as far as I'm concerned, $9. And $5.79 is $6. So take those two away and you get $3. Really, nothing more complicated than that for this particular chapter. Yes, there are some basic questions that will ask you to do plus, minus, and differences. Remember, plus is when you add, minus is subtract. What about difference? Difference is also subtract. I'm just going to write sub. More than, what is 5 more than? Means add. Less than is again subtract. Take away is subtract. And finally, add means add. So, always, always, always do as many questions as you possibly can to practice these skills, particularly the worded questions. They're the ones that come up later. Well, I think I'm pretty much done. Yep, this was a lesson on whole number addition and subtraction. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for joining us for that video. It was really good having you. Now, if you'd like to know when the next video is coming, why not click on subscribe? Alternatively, head on over to mathsguru.com where you can watch all of the videos on its own dedicated website. While otherwise, watch the video that's just popped up. It'll be part of this series. All right, take care. See you again soon.